of the Financial Services Committee, Article 1, Section 9 of our Constitution that puts the spending power with the Congress, and to remind him that his party has been in control for the last 2 years. And with that, Madam Chair, I would like to yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from South Carolina.
The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I congratulate him on his work on this alternative that we're going to see. And the one before us is the progressive budget. And it seems to me that what we have here is a continuation of the problem that we're all focused on, which is we've overdosed on credit. And there really is a limit to how much you can spend. Now, this is an unfortunate thing. We wish that we had no limits, but there are limits. I hope that progressives won't stand on the floor and say what I've often heard them say before, which is, the question is not whether we can afford to do this, the question is whether we can afford not to do this, which is, of course, inherently irresponsible, because there are limits. There are limits on how much money there is available, how many resources we can commit to various programs and projects, and we got to live within those limits. There's been a lot of talk about inheriting this financial mess, and as the gentleman from Texas just said a little while ago, it is a mess. And it is something that this administration is dealing with and that this majority is dealing with. But it's also something that we've got to admit has been coming a long time. This is not really a brand new thing. The housing bubble was new, or the bursting of it was new. The buildup, the blowing up of that bubble took a while. The bursting of it is more recent. But the thing that's been going on for a long time, under, frankly, Republicans and Democrats, is the runaway spending and entitlements that must be constrained. And I would submit the only way to change it is to change the underlying programs and the incentives and the way that those programs work. So, for example, in Medicare, we just got to find a way to incentivize the patient to care about how much it costs. And we have just got to find a way to make prevention part of our health system. Now, that's something we need to come together on and figure out, progressives, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, how do you do that? How do you change the underlying incentives in a program like Medicare to bring it under control? I would submit that these sort of things where you just sort of cap the rate of growth really don't work, because we've seen that we've done that and then we've extended the cap. And so that doesn't work. What's going to happen is we have to figure out a way to come into the programs, those big ones, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and figure out a way to change the underlying program. Hopefully we can do that in a cooperative, collaborative way. There are ideas on this side of the aisle that will work in healthcare, that will work to bring down the cost, the runaway cost of Medicare and Medicaid. I hope that we can get to that. I thank the gentleman for yielding. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentlewoman from California.
I'm honored to yield 1.5 minutes to the